It's game time. Welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart, here today to talk all about recruiting. You and I both know that recruiting is the essential skill in 2021 to help you get your personal organization built and equipped with the right people to help you reach your goals. Yet so few people really know how to do it well. And I'm honored today to have with me a guest who's going to teach us all about that. Before we go there, let me remind you that inside of the Think Bigger Real Estate group on Facebook, we do deep dive learning, right? Here you get to learn some great things. There we take these big thinkers and we go deep and help you actually learn and apply these things. So if you're not yet a member of that group, go find Think Bigger Real Estate on Facebook. Now, today's guest is a friend of mine, someone who I admire, love everything about this guy, what he's doing, what he stands for. And again, he is bringing really kind of a new feel to the recruiting world to give it a ton of respect, help people to do it right and do it well. Adam Roach, thank you, my friend, for coming on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show today.
Justin, my pleasure. Thanks for having me again, actually. I think this is the second time I get to be on the show. I feel honored and ready to rock and roll.
It is. There's very few people who have come back on the second time.
Yeah.
Cool. You're one of those select few. I'm like, I got to get Adam back on. So this is, it's a total honor to have you here, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Let's dive into this. I know there's people listening who, again, probably don't have a ton of time. So let's jump right into it. Okay. What is the biggest stumbling block that you found, Adam, that keep people from being great recruiters?
Yep. The person in the mirror. Pretty simple. That person in the mirror. They show up to these recruiting appointments and they think they can recruit the individual. I had a mentor teach me a long time ago. She said, Adam, you cannot recruit anybody. I thought, I think you're wrong. She goes, no, think about it. You can't recruit anybody because, again, at the end of the day, they either see value in you or they don't. And over time, they will self-discover that they need to be in your world. So if you're a recruiter out there and you're sitting down with someone and you're thinking, I'm going to go recruit this person, you better stop, right? You better stop and you better go build a relationship. So Justin, at the end of the day, that's their biggest hang up is they go to recruit somebody versus building a relationship with somebody.
Boy, I love what you said there. They self-discover. They realize that they need to be in your world, right? And I think, some of the biggest, some people that have effectively recruited me, some of the people who I see effectively recruiting other people, they're very clear on and even help the person, let's say me in this example, realize where I'm at in life, and then almost help me discover where I actually want to be, where I want to be, right?
Totally.
And then realize that there's actually a gap there. And it's a gap that if I don't get some exterior help, some exterior influence, I'm going to continue to have that gap from where I am and where I want to be. And then that person demonstrates the fact of their ability to help people over that chasm, right? Over that gap. And that's what I heard you say here is the fact that it's really about building this relationship with people and giving them this idea that you need to be in my world and them self-discovering that, right?
Yeah, totally. When you think about it, you're not a recruiter, you're a relationship builder. And this is what I tell all of our coaches and our coaching clients. And you've got to be careful, Justin. I might try to attempt to recruit you to become one of our coaches because that was really, really good what you just said. But let's think about it. When you sit down in an appointment or you're sitting down with someone that you're looking to add value to, they're sitting with you for a reason. Just like you and I have had many conversations, we have gaps that each one of us can fill for the other person. Yeah. Now, here's the key with that. When you're sitting down for that appointment, so this is a 101 in recruiting, and we teach this from the very get-go. You are sitting down from a place of curiosity, not of a place of solution orientation, right? You're not looking to solve any of their problems, and I believe that is the problem that most people have when looking to build their organization is they instantly want to go to problem solving, instantly. Now, you don't know because you're projecting what you think their problems really are. And if you don't ask the questions of really where do they want to, I don't say go to, I say grow to, right? Where do they really want to grow to? Then you're going to miss the boat. You're just going to project and vomit all over them what you think is value. And they're going to leave saying, well, that was a waste of time because they won't know, meaning the recruiter won't know what the value is they need. So here's what we share with all of our clients. Sit down with someone, get to know them. We have a 26 needs analysis questions that we give to our clients, and they create gaps. And I tell them, you are a gap creator. I want you to walk away from that with creating gaps between where they are and where they want to grow to. And then it's your job to fill in with value, not solutions, but with value, so that over time, that individual will self-discover that you are the person that they need to be in the space with.
It is interesting as I've again heard people who have whether it tried to be recruit me or recruit other people, you're right. There is this dump of like, okay, I've got I know exactly why I came to this particular organization.
Mhm.
And so I'm just going to like spew that on you. And you're for sure going to hear it how I hear it. And what you just said is a totally different perspective of like, listen before you talk. I know you've spent personal time with John Maxwell, personal friends with him, which I'm extremely envious of that relationship. That's amazing. He's one of my key mentors. And I know that that's a lot of what he teaches, right? Like leadership is about listening and loving and actually understanding where people are at so that you can move them and so that they'll let you move them, right? There's people don't really want to be moved by someone who they don't really feel like has their best interest in mind, or they're just a pawn in their game, right?
Right. Yeah.
And,
John says that all the time. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And in this space of recruiting, so that's one of the vision statement for the I Love Recruiting company that which we have. And here we go. I don't know if you can see the t-shirt that I have on. I pretty much wear this day and night. The vision statement for the I Love Recruiting company is to enable recruiters. And we put an asterisk next to the word recruiter, to enable recruiters to change 100 million lives. And we believe that everybody is a recruiter. We don't care if you're in the real estate space, if you're in the mortgage space, the title space. I had to recruit my kids to make their bed today, Justin. So, I mean, we're all recruiting at any way, any form there. And the beauty of that, related to what John says, is you do have to care, right? If you're just looking to fill a spot with a body, with a warm body, it's not going to work, right? With my kids, this is a very simple example. Well, Daddy, why do we have to make our bed? Well, let's go back to the book, right? I don't know if we've all read that book, but Make Your Bed in the Morning, right? I think it was a Navy SEAL that wrote it or something like that. Make Your Bed First. I forget what it's called. You win, right? You start the day with a win. So there is attachment of value to that moving part. So now my kids understand that this isn't just daddy saying, hey, go make your bed. They want to start their day the right way. Same thing in the recruiting space. When you have value to give someone, find out what their gap is and then fill it with value, not a solution, so that they know how much you actually care. And it's not just you putting and projecting your own thoughts into what you think they need.
You know, something you said there that I think is really interesting that probably a lot of people wouldn't admit. They may be sitting on an incredible opportunity to recruit into, right? Whether it's in the real estate industry or some other. And just the word recruiting causes them to be like, I don't want to be recruited. And it's funny. It takes me back to a business program that I was a part of for 2 years. And one of the professors was sharing, he said, because I talked about wanting to recruit people into my general contracting company at the time. And he said, wait, stop. He said, don't use that word, recruit. He's like, nobody wants to be recruited. He said, when I think of recruit, I think of like the military. Like, who wants to be recruited? Like, and it was like this. Right. And I was like coming from a totally different spot. I was like, so in high school, I was a high school football player, aspiring to be a college football player. When I got recruited, it was an honor. It was like, oh man, I'm being recruited. I've got a college coach in the stand tonight. He's here to recruit me. So to me, I was like, people might not have a good, cozy feeling about being recruited. To me, that's like an honor. That's like wow, I'm recruited. So I feel like what you just said there of like changing the way that people even see the word recruit is that it's not something like, oh, gross, you're recruiting me. It's like, oh, it's an honor. Kind of walk us more through how you get people over that initial even stumbling block if they don't even want to say the word recruit. You've even heard people kind of change it to attraction, these other things, right? At the end of the day, you're recruiting. How do you help people, again, overcome that?
Well, it's fascinating. So I can honestly say I can count on two hands, if not a little bit more, the number of clients that I have either coached or am coaching currently right now one-on-one, that when we do what I call a deep dive call, their very first thing is, I hate recruiting. And I will
your t-shirt. You're like, come on.
Yeah. And they said, I will never wear your t-shirt. And I said, okay, great. Well, let's dive into that. Right. So again, that just gives me ammunition to understand what it is really either motivating or demotivating them. Right. And it's not that they hate recruiting. It's just they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you really think about all the things that you want to accomplish, right? Whatever it is, and maybe you banged your head up against the wall, you will eventually get to the point where you feel helpless and you say, that's just the dumbest thing ever, and I'm never going to do it again, and I hate it, right? Whatever that may be. I don't know what it is in your world, but it could be. So there was a lady in, where was she? Somewhere, small town USA, where she had a very, very small pond to recruit from. And this is what she said, Adam, I hate recruiting. And I don't know why you would want to coach me. This isn't going to work. I said, great. This is going to be really fun. And I kid you not, within probably 2 months, she had recruited 8 people. And here's what we had to change. We didn't have to change necessarily her mindset. We had to change her vision, right? Because she had no vision. And the vision was that she just wanted to build a company. I said, well, that's not going to attract anybody. Let's build a real vision statement, one that's articulatable, one that moves you, one that is motivating either you, the people around you, the environment around you. Let's really put something into place here that you can eat, sleep, and drink and then become it, right? And then as you become it, then when you go to have a conversation with someone and build a relationship, you see if their vision fits into your vision. And if they do, keep asking questions. Because when they see that their vision can fit into your vision, guess what? They will self-discover that they want to be in your world. And then they will raise their hand, and they will say, hey, Justin, how do I get into your world? Because I can't live without it. And guess what you just did? You recruited somebody.
It takes me back, Adam, to the best recruiting job I ever did. My wife is better looking than me. She's actually taller than me. She's smarter than me. She's everything better than I am.
Yeah.
And somehow she's my wife. And I think of the principles that I used to get that. In fact, I remember at a time when the question was asked, like, how do you recruit somebody? Or like, how do you find like the ideal spouse or partner, companion, right? Like, you've got to become that person. Like, you've got to actually be the person that you want to attract, right? And kind of what you just shared there is very similar to that of like stop trying to like get people to do something that they don't want to do. Become the person, build the organization that attractive people would want to be with, right?
Yep.
And naturally, then at that point it gets super easy because you can just ask questions to share where you're at and where they're at, and if where they're like where they want to be is where you're at, right? I mean, it's just brilliant. We just shared the shared vision concept. It's amazing.
And here's the other thing I'll say, Justin, is in my experience, the ones that hate recruiting have had bad experiences in the recruiting space because they get attached to the outcome, right? They get attached to the outcome of the individual that's sitting across from them. Like, oh my gosh, I need to recruit. Oh my gosh, if I don't recruit, my company is going to go under. Oh my gosh, if I don't recruit, whatever, I'm not going to have my job anymore. When you can remove that emotion of being attached to the outcome of recruiting and sharing a vision, finding alignment with that vision, it becomes much easier because then you can remember some will, some won't, some wait. So what? Who's next? Right? And you go find it. I remember when I was making my calls back in the day when I was a team leader for a Keller Williams organization. I changed my mindset from recruiting to say, who's going to be the lucky one that gets to answer the phone today and we get to have a conversation? Because I believed in my vision that much. And our vision was to become the most attractive and vibrant real estate office in all of Charleston, committed to a model of excellence. Not only did I know that, but I changed the name of my staff to the vision team. The vision team then took that every Friday at 8:30. When we started, we had 3 people on the team. And then I would think we expanded it over time to 12 people. Every Friday, someone had to read the vision statement. And it went to that person, that person, that person, that person. It was right at the top of our agenda. And so we became the vision. We embodied the vision. And then we got purposeful with the vision such that when I set an appointment, we had a system for people to experience that vision. And it was so fun because by the time they were sitting down with me, they were 95% convinced that they needed to be in our environment, and they hadn't even had a conversation with me yet. Yeah. It was so fun.
We have a mentor in common by the name of Dan. And he was teaching this principle about how do you get people to want what you have, right? Whether it be a product, whether it be to be a part of your organization. And he said, start off by building a great product, like build something that people actually want.
Right.
And then it'll be so much easier to find the people that want that. And I think that's so critical. And again, I'm just kind of putting punctuation marks behind your points here. That at the end of the day, if we don't actually have an organization that people want, whether it be our one-man real estate team or, a bigger organization, then it's really going to be hard to attract great people to a vision that isn't very good, right?
Yeah.
But if you can really, like you said, and sometimes you kind of have to build the vision while you're building the vision, right? You kind of like create it, and we're all working towards this. And very intentionally, you had practices in place that allowed the team to kind of get behind this, right? And then I'm sure at that point, once you had this team, this staff on board with that, and they were exuding that, hey, this is the best place to be if you're in real estate in our area.
Mm-hmm.
It probably got really easy at that point, I would imagine, right? Like recruiting just became easy because people were attracted to it, and you were so confident in what you had to offer, right?
Well, it's interesting. So I hosted a podcast today. So we have the I Love Recruiting podcast. And I'm thinking maybe I need an I Love Recruiting tattoo. Wouldn't that be fun? Then I wouldn't have to wear this shirt all the time. And they went back and they were talking about, let me see if I can, there it is. Building a vision and then creating curiosity, right? Creating curiosity, not of the people, well, it could be of the people in the organization, and it can be of the people out of the organization. So for example, if we look at building the vision and then creating curiosity inside. So the inside then creates this retention piece, right? So Michael Brown was the individual who I was interviewing in our podcast. He's one of our newest I Love Recruiting coaches. And he was sharing his experience about how he was setting forth a vision of a new space that they were going to take over. He didn't know where it was. He didn't know how big it was. He didn't even know really what it was going to look like, but he had it in his head. And so he drew this picture, literally drew this picture, and he framed it. And everybody always asked, what is that? And he said, that's our new space. And they would say, where is it? And he'd say, I don't know yet. And they'd say, when do we get to have it? And he says, when you help me grow. Who do you know is looking to grow with us? And then when he would bring people in. So I'm sharing that because as you create your vision in this recruiting space, and I'll go back to my client in the middle of nowhere. She created her vision and then she shared it. She got on social media and she shared it. She did something live. And I said, I challenge you to do that daily for a whole month straight. And so she did. I said, how many people did you have watch? She goes, nobody. This is stupid. I said, do it again tomorrow. How many people did you have? She goes, 1. I said, great, keep doing. And by like the 30th day, she had, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 people, but she had 3 people raise their hand and said, that was amazing. I want to have more conversations with you. It was powerful. So creating curiosity and doing things like that really, really help with that vision.
Yeah, but if you can get passionate about building something great, you'll naturally attract great people, right? And that's exactly what you're doing. What else are people missing, Adam? Kind of before we go to the final segment of the show and really give people an idea as to where they can go get more of this, because I think people are hungry for this. They realize they can't do it by themselves. They don't want to do it all by themselves. They want to have great, whether it be administrative support or they want to have like an amazing organization, right? I think we're all in that spot where it's like, okay, something's holding me back. I don't know exactly what it is. What else would you say kind of that you've seen really catches people and holds them up from reaching their potential as a great recruiter?
Well, I think there's quite a few things. I think at the end of the day, let's go backwards. I want to go from my own experience. When you show up inauthentic, right? When you show up inauthentic and you're not being genuine with the person in front of you, they will see it and smell it all day long, right? It just doesn't work. So I don't care if you've got the Versace, the Armani, the Prada suit on. You don't need to do that, right? Just show. Well, now if that's truly you, do that. I'm coming from experience here. So I was an agent in Beverly Hills. Now I'm a Hoosier. I'm a native Hoosier, right? And I'm an Indiana boy. And but I went out to SoCal. I was a tennis player, and that's just kind of what I did. And I got into real estate out there. And then when I came back to Indianapolis to run an office and be a recruiter, be the team leader. And I showed up in these suits all day long, my fancy shoes, fancy fake watches. It's a bunch of BS, right? And I realized that I was being very inauthentic, which the people across from me could feel, right? And so I was trying to vomit all over them value that I felt they needed, and it didn't work. And it really didn't work. And it truthfully, Justin, this is a funny story. If we could go back in time, we could ask these people, how did Adam Roach change? I started wearing Converse. I put my Converse back on and it felt good. Now I kept my suits on, but I also wore Converse at the same time. And that was just me. That's just how I operated. And I was able to show up more authentically. Now, this is totally just my experience. I don't know if everybody's going to be the same way. I would imagine if you're not building relationships, you're not connecting with people, do not look at the person across the room and say that they suck. Go look at yourself in the mirror. Right? Go look at yourself in the mirror and say, how am I building better relationships? And then show up that way for yourself. Go develop yourself first, and then show up as the best version of yourself so that you can attract more people.
But that's a powerful principle right there, isn't it? Because it's easy to look at all the people that maybe didn't accept our offer to come join us.
Mm-hmm.
Say, like, they just don't get it, right? They're not smart. They're not right. Like they're not hard enough workers. They don't get it. They're small-minded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's very difficult to change a whole multitude of people compared to just changing the one who's the common denominator in that picture.
Totally.
Is it you in every one of those meetings? So wouldn't it be easier to change that one person as opposed to trying to change everybody?
I'll give you a quick little example here. I was not a good recruiter back then at all, at all. And here's what happens. And I've learned this through many mentors. When you're stuck thinking about yourself, you lose all sense of creativity. Because you're narrow focused. You're in this linear space of me. All I want to do is be right and look good. It doesn't work. You lose all sense of creativity. As soon as I put my Converse on, as soon as I was able to get into my own space, not only did I start attracting and recruiting more people, I built a system. I built a system called Recruiting Bridge that we then expanded into Xceed. And here's a beautiful part of that. I took myself out of the equation. I said, how can I appeal to the masses to help them attract and recruit more agents? And to this date, Justin, that was 2015. We launched both those platforms. We've helped over 125,000 agents either change companies or get into the real estate space.
Wow, 125,000.
Yeah.
Because you learned how to be authentic to who Adam Roach really is. You could then at that point really address, stop thinking about myself. What's the need in the marketplace? How do I go fill that need? And look what you filled it with.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was so cool. Now I get to wear an I Love Recruiting t-shirt and no more Converse. I do have some golden gooses on, but at the same time, it's just kind of fun, right? That's what we get to do is we get to build authentic relationships through creativity.
Adam, I want to go to the last segment, which is going to tap into what allows you to continue to be a big thinker. Before I go there, I want to be sure and have anybody who's following this that is like that has come to the realization that if for me to get to where I want to go, I have to align with other talented people, period. Right? And I think if anyone's goals aren't at least that big, then I think you ought to reassess what potential looks like inside of you and what other people's lives you could be benefiting by bringing them into a shared vision. So with that being said, Adam, how do people learn more about this to where they can, again, kind of take off the shackles of being like a stealth recruiter where I don't actually like to recruit. I like to talk about it, think about it.
Sure.
Being someone who wears it on their chest of like, I love recruiting. Let's build relationships. Like, how do they follow you? How do they stay in contact with you?
Yeah, great question. Number one, I love this podcast. This is probably one of the best podcasts I listen to, Justin. You bring value every single time. So I thank you. Grateful for you. Grateful for your friendship. Then go find us. Here's something new that I've created from a creativity standpoint. We created a Facebook group called The Art of Recruiting. We're approaching 1,000 members. I think we're probably 5 months old. And my vision there was, again, I love recruiting, the name of our company, and that's truly what I do. I wanted to bring all the recruiters together. I didn't care where you were, in what industry. I didn't care what brand you had. I was a little nervous at first, thinking that people wouldn't play fair in the sandbox and maybe I'd have to split up a few fist fights. But no, it's been really cool collaboration-wise. Recruiters from all over, brands, shapes, sizes, industries. So go to The Art of Recruiting in Facebook and join that group. They can go to iloverecruiting.com. We are starting a new group coaching segment. When will that be? That will be a week from this coming Friday. So that'll be the 12th of February. So go to groupcoaching.iloverecruiting.com and go register there. And just go to the I Love Recruiting page at iloverecruiting.com and put in your info. I'll reach out to you personally. If you want to have a conversation, you can scroll down to the end of the page. Let us know if you're interested in one-on-one coaching. Because you're involved with Justin, just tell us, Justin, and we'll give you a discount for your first month. We'll totally help you out any way you want to. Just mention Justin's podcast, and we'll take good care of you.
Awesome, man. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I have friends that have followed you, listened to you, or getting training from you. And again, guys, this is the year 2021, and there are massive opportunities, and you get paid really, really well. If you can get expert at this one thing. This one skill will not only create great income for you, but great passive income. Like, there's all kinds of opportunities. I'm not talking just real estate. I'm talking like the world at large, right? If you can get good at attracting talent, because I think that talent pool tends to be shrinking. I was actually talking to a friend of mine this morning who's having he's in a kind of a traditional dentistry business. And he's like, man, finding good talent these days is more difficult than it sounds. And I think that there's for people that are talented, if you can go attract other people that are talented, there's a jackpot there for you, right?
Yeah,
like there's really a big price tag attached to this skill set that Adam Roach, in my opinion, is the foremost expert in the world at recruiting.
Thank you.
Please go to his Facebook page. Don't dismiss this opportunity. Even if you're like this, like not in an organization that compensates you for that. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about even to your own team, even your own clients. You're recruiting them, right, to be in business with you. Okay. So all of these things, again, tie in so well with what you bring to the table. So again, the Art of Recruiting Facebook group, go find that, join it, and start learning from the master. Adam, let's move to the last segment of the show here, which is the Think Bigger segment.
Love it.
This is where we get to tap into a big thinker like you. And I get to ask you, Adam, you've done some pretty cool things up to this point. Yet I know a guy like you is not content. You're grateful, but you're not content. You're looking to always grow, always expand. What can you teach us, those of us that are also super hungry, super thirsty for growth, to really lean in and be in pursuit of our potential? What can you teach us? What do you do to continue to be a big thinker, to continue that your possibilities are always expanding?
Yep. Great question. I love this segment of your show. Go look and see who you're hanging with, right? I do believe that you grow into the conversations that you're having. So when you find that you are stagnant, right? If you find that you're bored, if you find that you are just in a space in your life where you just, it's just dull and boring, go pay attention to the people that you're hanging with, right? The other thing I would say is it's okay. It's okay to be not okay, right? And if you're not okay with where you are right now, change something, right? Go change something. It's okay to think big. It's okay to get laughed at. I'll never forget when, I shared quite a few of my goals throughout the years of all the people that have laughed. And here we have now recruited over 100,000 people to other organizations. And it's been fantastic. So, you brought up John Maxwell. John Maxwell is someone that I followed for a long, long time. And I did whatever I could to get in front of him. I have a picture of John and I from 15 years ago. And now to be able to say, hey, listen, I need to pick up the phone and just text John and say, hey, will you put a prayer over me today? And he'll instantly text right back. We've traveled the world with him. And I will honestly say that I didn't believe that I could get that who, if you will, in my life. And that was because I probably was thinking too small. So go take action on the people that you want to surround yourself with, right? Next for me is Richard Branson. How do I go get involved with someone like Richard Branson? I belong to a group called GoBundance. And this is a no joke story, Justin. I'll be real quick here. So we have GoBundance is a tribe of healthy, wealthy men learning, living epic lives, right? I think that's our tagline. I might have butchered it a little bit. And I've been a member of that for 6 years and almost 7 years. And I put that out there and I said, hey, listen, I want to meet Richard Branson. I want to learn from this guy that has so many companies, done so many innovative things. And I kid you not, one of my mentors, David Osborne, came up to me, I think it was last year or maybe the year before, pre-COVID. He says, hey, listen, we're all going to charter my jet and fly to Necker Island. You want in? And I thought, holy cow. Now, wait a minute. That's Richard's Island, right? And he's like, yeah. And I just put it out there mentally. I don't even think I'd talked to anybody. And I did unfortunately have to pass because the price tag was just a little out of my reach at, almost 6 figures to get on this plane and go do it. However, the opportunity was there, right? So your who's really do matter, and go challenge yourself to see who you can surround yourself with this year.
Man, you just opened my eyes to, again, another element of recruiting, right? It all comes back to attracting the right people into our lives. And you're right, like the mentors that we can bring into our life are it's amazing what accessibility we have if we've got the confidence and the courage and the skill set to go become the person and then build a relationship and find out where visions align. Man, you've taught us so much today, Adam. It's always such a pleasure. It's a great benefit and honor for me to have someone like you that I can call a friend, somebody like you that is a fellow big thinker. And I love that we get to be friends. So thank you for coming on and sharing so much with us about recruiting. Again, anybody listening here today, do not delay. Go over, look for the group, The Art of Recruiting, or go to iloverecruiting.com. Stay aligned with this man. Your life will be better because of it. Thank you again, Adam. And to everybody listening, one last request, and it's this. Go think bigger.
Love
Thanks,
it.
Adam. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, Justin. See you.